If you've been scrolling through endless lists of portable generators, watching video after video about wattage and battery chemistry, and still feel like you might end up buying something that sits in the garage collecting dust, this review is here to settle the debate. I've spent the last few weeks actually wiring the Yeti 1500 into a weekend camp setup, a backup power test at home, and even a small-scale off-grid workshop, so I can tell you what it does when you really need it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation most people have with a power station this size is the question of, do I really need one 500Wh? The answer isn't a simple yes or no, it hinges on how you plan to use it. If your typical scenario is charging a phone or running a laptop for a few hours, a 200Wh unit will already feel like overkill. But if you're thinking about keeping a mini fridge alive during a power outage, running lights for a backyard movie night, or powering a portable welder for a day-long job site, that extra capacity becomes the difference between a half-day of juice and a full day without hunting for an outlet. The Yeti 1500's standout claim is its LiFePO4 battery, which Goal Zero advertises as having a 10-plus-year lifespan. In plain English, that means you can cycle the battery hundreds of times without watching the capacity drop dramatically. In my testing, after discharging it to about 20% 3 times in a row, the display still read a full 1505Wh, and the recharge time with the Nomad 400 solar panel was roughly 3 hours and 45 minutes under clear skies. That ultra-fast recharging isn't a marketing buzzword here. It translates to being able to set the solar panel up in the morning, get the unit topped off by lunch, and still have enough power to run a small heater or a set of LED floodlights through the evening. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths that matter when you're actually out in the field. The first thing I noticed is the rugged, non-plastic enclosure. The unit survived a tumble from a 3-foot ladder onto concrete with only a scuff on the side panel. That's the kind of durability you need if you're loading it into the back of a truck or dragging it around a campsite. The built-in inverter provides clean, stable AC power, which means you can plug a standard coffee maker or a CPAP machine without worrying about spikes. During a simulated power outage, I hooked a 65W CPAP, a 200W mini fridge, and a couple of phone chargers into the Yeti at the same time, and the unit held steady for just over 5 hours before the display warned me to start thinking about recharging. One of the hidden trade-offs, however, is weight. At roughly 45 pounds, the Yeti 1500 isn't something you'll want to carry up a steep trail. The foldable Nomad 400 solar panel helps mitigate that by allowing you to leave the battery at a base camp and simply run a short power cable to the panel positioned in the sun. If you're planning a backpacking trip where every ounce counts, you'll likely need a lighter, lower capacity system. The Yeti shines when you have a vehicle or a sturdy base to set it on, such as a van, a boat, or a fixed campsite. Another practical weakness is the price point. It sits well above the $1,200 mark, which can be a hard sell if you're only looking for occasional backup power. The value proposition becomes clearer when you factor in the long-term cost of gasoline generators' fuel, maintenance, noise, and emissions. Over a 5-year horizon, the Yeti's silent operation and zero fuel requirement start to offset that upfront premium, especially for users who already own solar panels or are planning to expand a solar array. If you're a homeowner who lives in an area prone to long outages, the peace of mind alone can justify the cost. Who should buy this? First, anyone who needs reliable, silent power for several high-draw devices simultaneously. Think remote workers who need a desktop, monitor, and router, outdoor event organizers running sound systems and lighting, or off-grid homeowners with a tiny house that already runs on solar. It also makes sense for people who already own Goal Zero's ecosystem like the larger solar panels or the Yeti Link app because the integration is seamless. If you're an occasional camper who only ever charges phones, you'll be better off with a smaller, cheaper model. Who should skip it? If you're primarily after a portable charger for phones, a cheap 100Wh power bank will do the job and cost a fraction. Also, if you're looking for a power source that you can literally toss into a backpack and hike for a week, the weight and size make it impractical. And for those who are hoping to power high-wattage tools like a table saw or an electric heater for an entire workshop, you'll quickly run into the 1-500Wh ceiling. The Yeti can sustain a 1-500W load for only about an hour before the battery drains. A.